in an 8-round championship. This is round number 2 of GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, the second round of the 2023 GLTC season. This time a return to the south for GRIDLIFE at Carolina Motorsports Park. Welcome back to GRIDLIFE Live. Welcome to 2023. Welcome to the first stop on the GRIDLIFE Festival Tour. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Greg Kramer. Greg, welcome aboard. Glad to have you back here. It is awesome to have a legendary motorsports announcer beside me for our first of many races this season in the GRIDLIFE Festival Tour, but this is actually the 5th race of the season for GLTC.
Yeah, great start at Circuit of the Americas, so we'll talk more about that, obviously. First time for the series here, actually first time for you and I here at Carolina Motorsports Park. What a nice little gem it is. Really challenging, really fun and tricky, and it's going to put these drivers to the test. It's going to be fun.
2.2 miles around here, 14 corners, but we also want to thank Hyundai. The GRIDLIFE live stream is powered by Hyundai, and Hyundai N Never Just Drive, and Falcon, the official tire of GRIDLIFE Track Battle. We're going to show you the Hyundai N track preview here, new for this season. The track preview will show you the 2.3-mile, 14-turn road course here at Carolina Motorsports Park. Again, an Alan Wilson-designed racetrack. There's a look at it, Greg. Turns 1 and 2, fast 90-degree left-hander. You climb a curb up to turn 2. You'll head up to 5, 6, and 7, kind of do a little bit of a ring around the rosy there. Then down the hill towards turn 8. It's a fast right-hander. Passing opportunity there into the uphill send, and then turn 9, Greg. That's just a flat-out kink.
Yeah, it is so quick. That is not an area you want to attempt any kind of a pass. Turn 11, one of the best overtaking areas, but you need to get through 10 well. Then 12, 13, increasing radius corner. If you get somebody in front of you to bobble, you can do something, make a move down into 14, but a great passing area down into 1. That and 11 are really going to be the prime ones, but this is a place if you hustle somebody, you can get them to make a little mistake, then you can creatively make some moves as well.
This is a track with a lot of heavy braking zones. It's got a lot of flowing corners as well, some fast high-speed kinks. Turn number 10 in particular, that is a right-hander that I've been told in some GLTC cars is easy flat. Other drivers like Matan Rosenberg told us that, hey, it's not actually that easy to do. And side-by-side through there could get particularly treacherous.
Well, and that comes down to what kind of car you're running, right? Not just in terms of the make and model, but also what kind of aero you're running. Matan running a Corvette for the first time this year without any real aero on it. He said he's going to get some. He's realizing he needs a little bit. But that car, through that kink at 10, that's going to be dancing a lot, and he's got to be a little careful with it. Cars that don't have quite that power and aero on it can probably dip through there pretty quickly, but the key is if you run off there, things can go wrong in a hurry, and so you've got to really approach that corner very wisely. The other thing that's key here is once you get through 4, 5, 6, and 7, that's a triple apex right-hander, and patience, because you're on the edge. The car's dancing, just you're using the throttle coming through there, and if you get it right, you get a great run out of 7, and you can surprise somebody down into turn 8. Again, this track really smooth, really quick, but the curbs, you can hop them, but they will mess with the car a bit.
For those that are new to GRIDLIFE or new to GLTC, let's kind of set the scene for you here about what you're about to see. If you're at the racetrack, you should get to a fence because in about 4 minutes, we're going to roll these cars off. We have a 45-car grid for a 12 to 15-minute sprint race. The formula for this is power to weight, and there's modifiers that are percentage weight based on how complicated you make your car.
All right.
So if you want to add a wing, add a splitter, you have to add percentage weight to your vehicle. So you end up with a wide variety of cars that can all compete in a single-class sprint racing environment. So all these cars are in the same category. Everything from lightweight, Honda-powered, 4-cylinder powered, front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive engines, all the way up to V8 LS swaps, V6s, 370Zs, all sorts of cars. It's a great combination. But so far this weekend, the Corvettes have been dominant, especially in qualifying.
Yeah, 3 of them topping the qualifying order. Covered by, folks, a 1/10 of a second for those 3. If you watched qualifying earlier, timing updated a little bit after we completed the coverage, and Jeremy Swenson, who's leading the points after 3 wins at COTA, it gets himself 3 points right off the bat for that weekend championship total. So he's looking strong. But you've got a front-wheel drive car that sits in 4th, just a couple of tenths off, a rear-wheel drive S2000, I think, K-swap with only another couple of tenths back. So the diversity is there. That great blend of machinery out there is there.
Certainly, and with that S2000 you mentioned, that's Matt Waldbaum out of the ASM camp. Matt's running pretty much the full season this year in his number 90 ASM S2000. He's up in 5th, but there is another Honda-powered powered 4-cylinder up in the mix. It's James Houghton out of Ontario, Canada, in the number 41. He'll start 4th. Long tow for James Houghton. He's running the full season with us at Circuit of the Americas, Greg. That race number 2, we had a F1 style standing start, and you know what happened to James Houghton while battling for the lead? One of his wheels fell off, and in a spectacular display of car control and just flat out awesome driving, James Houghton drag raced Michael Hilo back to the start finish line on 3 wheels, throwing sparks, and won that drag race with half the car up in the air from basically sitting on its haunches. James Houghton is a race car driver, and he's described himself, self-described hooligan out there.
Yeah.
But he's going to start 4th in this one. Be fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. And Mike, and then let's not forget in the was it the last race or the second of the last race at Coda, Houghton and Jeremy Swenson had a duel in that one that was for the ages, side by side through corner after corner, absolutely spectacular. And poor Michael Hilo, he said, "Well, that's my legacy, isn't it?" He said, it'll be a while before that one fades a little bit. But the racing's fierce. And the one thing that you really need to think about, folks, is, yes, these are 15-minute races. There's 4 on a weekend. So you think, all right, they're 4 sprints, just go out and get it. You have to look at the big picture here, because qualifying determines this lineup in race 1. Fastest speed you turn, fastest lap in race 1 sets the grid for race 2. So if you're having a bad race, back off, get a lap in. In race 2, finishing order determines it. So do you risk going for the lead when you're in 3rd and maybe wreck your car and start at the back, or do you exercise a little caution, start 3rd in that next race? You've got a big picture of this all the way through. And the key word you're going to hear us talking about a lot here is called overlap. And the rule in this, and this is what makes this series so special and so successful, is if you've got overlap going into a turn, meaning if your car is inside another car or on the outside, if you want to go that way, that other car has to give you that race space. Now, there is friendly, good, clean overlap, and there's dirty, nasty overlap, which is if the driver in front of you can't really expect you to be there because his eyes are already up through the corner and you dive bomb in there and you technically have overlap, that's a no-no. But it really promotes some of the cleanest racing and as a result the most exciting racing in North America.
GRIDLIFE Touring Cup is not a contact sport, Greg.
No.
So
no.
The goal is to keep it clean, keep it fair, and keep it fun. And that's what we do here in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Let's kick things off with the starting lineup for the first race of 4 this weekend for GLTC. Row number 1 is Jeremy Swenson in the number 3 out of Moorhead, Minnesota. Alongside him, Paul Curley in the number 45 G-Speed Corvette.
Row number 2, the number 7 of Luke McGrew, and the 41 we've been talking about, James Houghton.
Matt Walbaum for ASM rolls off in row number 3 alongside Matan Rosenberg, Corvette power for the 484 this year.
And another Corvette for the number 1 of Gary Wimble, who led a lot of one of the races at COTA. And newcomer to the championship, number 11, John Kozlow.
47, that's Ryan Power. He'll start in 9th. Joel Morrison from Myriad Motorsports, Bright Green S2000, starts 10th.
Starting in the 11th spot, the 17 of Tony Marchev. Starting in 12th, number 98, Andrew Raines. Nice to have him back.
Row number 7, James Cathers. We've seen him in GRIDLIFE iRacers before, joining us on the esports side of things. Makes his first GRIDLIFE Touring Cup start from 13th. Adam Ulrich starts 14th in the number 4 Corvette.
Starting 15th in this big field, a really nice job by another newcomer, Eddie Nakato in the number 32.
Joshua Rubenstein starts 16th in the number 159. Lena Chin, brand new ASM build, brand new wrap. It's the baby blue and pink car, starts 17th.
In the 18th spot, number 42, Zach Lavoie, winner in this series. Starting 19th will be the 106 of Justin Thompson, and completing your top 20, the 33 of Justin Lee.
Carlos Mendez, new to GLTC, starts 21st place in the number 14. Brian Tyson starts 22nd in the number 23 car. He lost 3rd gear at Circuit of the Americas. Hopefully he's got all the gears in the stack this time.
And in the number 23rd spot is the number 213 of Scott Robertson, one of the veterans in this series, alongside another veteran in 24th, the 767 of Wes Case.
Vitas Aronowskis starts 25th in a rented car this weekend, the number 66 MX-5. Ethan Swindle in the number 182 starts 26th.
In the 27th spot, the number 36 of Tyler Starr, an absolutely immaculate car that he's put together. Starting 28th, the 91 of Michael Kramer.
29th place, Andy Funston in that 1985 Toyota Celica Supra, the number 163. And Doug Geiger in the 562 starts 30th.
Starting 31st, the 610 of Benjamin Swanson. In 32nd, the 165 of Carter Hollis.
And in 33rd, it's Di Wynn in the 888. Robert McDaniel starts 34th, the number 6.
In the 35th spot, it's the number 56 of Bob Ross. In the 36th spot, the 184 of Eric Jensen, who's out of place. He's normally much farther toward the front, had a problem in qualifying. And then Ronnie Vidak in the number 99, an absolutely spectacular-looking car in the DC Sports entry, rounds out your field.
And Tom O'Gorman's got our FCP Euro pit report.
What is up, guys? I am so excited to be back here at GRIDLIFE. I'm standing here with Tom O'Gorman. He is last year's GLTC champion. I got a chance to talk to Ryan Power earlier and Matt Walbaum. These are two people that you guys have had good relationships in the past with. Give me a little bit of a synopsis on what these guys can do to expect to win this weekend, this first round, how to get their foot in the door.
Well, a couple quick notes. This is a brand new track for the series, so we have drivers who have never raced here before, but we also have locals who've come in and they have raced here before. So we're going to our first green flag. It's going to be really intense for these drivers to learn how to race. We also have a lot of key, longer braking zones that are long enough to get passing done, so those drivers who are confident enough in what the car can do on the very first lap of this can really set themselves apart on that green flag lap.
Now, something that's really unique about GRIDLIFE is that you have multiple different classes of racing. And right before this, we had drifting. And what that does is it lays a lot of tire down on the asphalt and kind of makes a little bit of inconsistent traction. What was your experience with this in the past?
You just got to be adaptable.
Here we go. Green flag flies. We're racing in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Carolina Motorsports Park, turn 1. Jeremy Swenson leads the way. McGrew, Waldbaum, side by side. Then it's Matan Rosenberg, and it's a tight pinch point down there, the 90-degree left at turn 1, Greg.
Yeah, tight, and Swenson doing a little bit of a drifting on his own as he got that big vet rotated through there, that purple Viking entry. And now the run up into the 4, and then turn 4, quick flick to the left, and then 5, 6, 7. A really busy section of track, and so far everybody somehow has gotten through that very tight first turn.
So far, so good. Turn 1, lap 1. That's always a challenge, especially at a tight racetrack like this. Swenson leads the way. McGrew came out of turn 1 second place, and it was Waldbaum, Curley, and Wimble. They're up through 5, 6, and 7, heading down towards turn 8. They'll come back into view here in a moment. Now they're in turn number 8. It's an uphill right-hander. Swenson leads McGrew. Right behind their little bit of side-by-side there. That's Gary Wimble on the outside. Is that the number 7 that slid back? No, it is not. That's Rosenberg.
Yeah.
And here comes Andrew Raines in the Birmingham Road and Race BMW up into the mix as well through turn 10, Greg the King.
Oh, and Rosenberg, Matan Rosenberg able to sneak through and pick up that spot on Wimble, so he's looking really good early, and Swenson has that little bit of a margin, but McGrew and Waldbaum already in a really good battle. And as I say that, look at that beautiful move by Wimble, back underneath Rosenberg, picks up that 5th spot again in that red number 1.
Good battle there, John Coslow and the 32. Those are 2 new to GLTC drivers, and it looks like James Houghton's got some significant front-end damage on his number 41, so the 41 got into the back of somebody, and there's also some smoke going off into turn number 11, so not sure what's up with that. Standing yellow flag, wonder if there's a car off course somewhere, but the 41 has definitely been into the back of somebody.
And again, Rosenberg and Wimble, you can see in this group here that top 3 cars, then the 2 that are duking it out side by side. Rosenberg, I think, getting the outside run and making that pass once again. They've swapped positions 3 times already in the opening lap, and we're seeing that playing out in lots of other areas on the track. Beautiful look there at the number 47.
Whoa, he was off course there. 2 tires in the dirt trying to keep it on track as they head up towards turn number 5, Greg.
And here we go. This is that turn to the left, turn 4, and then 3 apexes, 5, 6, and you've got to be really patient. Turn in early to 5, let it float way out, wide if you can, if nobody's challenging you from behind, so you can get turned, get on the throttle out of 7, and really get a drive down into 8. That's the patience part of this track.
Really exceptional start for Andrew Raines in the Birmingham Road and Race BMW, up to 6th place in that car as we head down towards turn number 8. Now you can see the downhill, but look at Matt Waldbaum up to 3rd place from 5th on the start, trying to run down Luke McGrew, and then it's Rosenberg, Wimble, then it's Andrew Raines, and then Ryan Power in that BMW. He's new to the series as well, and Tony Marchev up to 8th place on the start.
Yeah, great to see some of these guys that are new to the championship but have that track knowledge, able to get up there and duke it out with some of the guys up front. Up front, speaking of which, Swenson up now, pushing about 0.4 of a second clear of McGrew, and that's primarily because McGrew and Waldbaum are having their own little battle. And this is a solid one as well. As we go back, take a look there at the 917. Lena Chin in one of the ASM cars, those Sports 2000s, doing an absolutely superb job.
Chasing Justin Thompson for position. That's down the order just a little bit as they work their way through the final sector here. Very tight and twisty section, but the 2 drivers that dominated Circuit of the Americas run 1st and 2nd right now. Swenson just ran the best lap of the race, but McGrew is right there in the number 7.
Yeah, McGrew has been able to shake Waldbaum, and that has brought him right up onto the back now of Swenson. And that turn 1, 2, 3 complex, when you come through 1, if you've got a car where your gearing has you absolutely up on the pipe and you have to shift, you want a short shift because you don't want to be shifting because you straighten that out, get that curve pretty good, and it can really unsettle the car. And there you can see that little bit of patience now, that sweep through 7. Get that front end turned and get on the throttle.
Bit of a battle behind between James Cathers. I think James Houghton is in that mix as well. This is at the bottom half of the top 10. Joel Morrison is chasing as well in that bright green Myriad Motorsports car. Easy to spot from a distance, thank goodness. But he's just outside the top 10 trying to work his way back in, chasing the 11 of Kozlow.
Yeah, he dropped a couple of spots on the start. And meanwhile, out of turn 9 now, and this is into that really fast kink. And Swenson right in front of McGrew, it is a breathe at least, and you do that just to get the nose to point, get some weight on the front wheels, make sure that you can turn in, but you don't make it too abrupt because you don't want that back end coming around in that high-speed kink. Nicely done by both those drivers.
Side by side, way in the distance. So that was Adam Ulrich in the gold and white Corvette. He was side by side with somebody there, another BMW, new driver, I'm sure. There's plenty of them in the field to spot, Greg. Lots of new names, new faces, and new cars to get used to from a distance. But good battles all throughout the field we've seen so far in this one, and still a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, a quarter of the field here essentially are new to the Grid Life championship here, and it's great to see that, certainly. And as we said, track knowledge can make a difference here. But right now, those guys up front, once McGrew was able to drop Waldbaum, Waldbaum's fallen back just a little bit. As a matter of fact, in that last lap, he dropped about 2 seconds, and I think it's because he's now got Rosenberg, pretty close to him at this stage as well.
Certainly has his hands full as Rosenberg closes in. And then it's Gary Wimble, Andrew Raines, Ryan Power. And then there's a bit of a battle behind. Tony Marchev is in the middle of it, just behind these guys here as they head up into turn number 4. But this battle for third is going to heat up before it doesn't.
Yeah, last spot on the podium, and makes it a very crucial battle here, obviously. And just watching the run here, Waldbaum, the first of those 2 cars, and that's light and nimble. It'll get through these tight bits a little bit. But then Matan with that Corvette. And yes, the Corvettes are reeled in terms of outright power, but they still launch out of turns. They've got a really nice flat torque curve, and you use that to your advantage here. Really close call behind them as well.
I think that was that Power and Raines that were trading spots for 4th or 6th place rather. Raines and now Power drops behind. That is the 41 on a recovery drive after that. Certainly the aero isn't helping him here, but that hood is not hurting him as bad as I thought it would be.
No, it's got a rake to it, doesn't it? But it actually might be a movable aerodynamic device at this point. But doing a heck of a job as he's trying to come back. We don't really know what happened. We didn't see it on the start, but there you can see that big wrinkle in the hood. One of the things, this track has some fast spots, but they're not super long, and so it shouldn't affect him too much. One of the best things he can do, get up behind somebody on those long runs, and that'll help with that aero.
I don't think there was anybody up front that is not up front anymore, so I don't think he's turned anybody around.
No.
But just got into the back of somebody. I haven't seen a rear bumper.
Ooh.
Either is a slip from Swenson, and McGrew is all over him through turns 2 and 3, Greg. Here he comes for the top spot.
Yeah, that's that little bobble, and that's what I'm talking about. You get somebody to make a little mistake, you can actually get them, surprise them up here into turn 4. Swenson pretty savvy when he had the slip. He moved right into the lane that McGrew would have maybe used for something like that, and that's part of being a good defense. And again, a little slide by Swenson. He is pushing that Viking purple Corvette for all it's worth.
A little slip and a little slide, and McGrew is just hounding the back. Swenson defensive into turn 8. McGrew's back on the racing line now, so is Swenson, but this is not over yet, Greg. We're heading on to the longest, fastest straightaway up through 9 and into 10, and I bet you McGrew is going to be there if he's got anything for him here.
I think so too, and remember, these cars really heavy, so they're good early. And one of the things that weight does is it helps you as they turn into this kink, it helps you get heat in your tires a little bit sooner. So you can go harder, quicker, earlier, if you will. But you can also run the tires off the car, and that's when the Waldbaums and the Raines and the Houghtons are going to come alive a little bit side by side. That's what I was talking about. Into turn 4, you can make that happen.
Eric Jensen is the car that's side by side, I believe, as they work. Oh, that's Dai Win, rather, on the inside. And Scott Robertson's back there trying to go the long way around at the exit at turn number 7. What a drive there by Scott Robertson as they race down the hill towards turn 8.
And this is going to be an absolute drag race. and Robertson with that wider line was able to feed it more power. And McGrew, once again, there's an opportunity here going down into turn 1. If he gets a little bit of a toe, goes to the outside, now feints to the inside.
Here comes Luke McGrew for the lead down into turn 1. He doesn't quite have overlap, not quite there, but we still got at least 2 laps of racing left to go. Swenson through turn 1 trying to keep the grip in the rear tires here.
And you can see they're a little bit different line through there. Swenson likes to come back a little bit, swing back left to set up for that little kink in 2. McGrew just straight lines it a little bit more, and I think that unsettles Swenson's car just a little bit. And right now, Swenson's car is tail happy. Watch him through here. He got sideways right about in here last time, and that really gave Swenson an opportunity, or gave McGrew an opportunity. This time, Jeremy looking a little bit cleaner.
Better exit there for the 2 leaders as they head down towards turn 8. Walbaum and Rosenberg still 2/10 apart in their own battle. Wes Case and Lena Chin just ran their best laps of the race as Tyson Lee and Kramer fight for 22nd down the order. Big grid in this race. There's still battles all over the racetrack. Lena Chin working over somebody right now, but the 2 leaders out of turn 8 and 9 still nose to tail by 2/10 of a second.
And Houghton, by the way, just turned his last lap a half second faster than Wimble in front of him. So that battle for the final spot in the top 5 is going to come alive in short order here as well. But boy, I'll tell you, this battle between the 2 Corvettes, pretty compelling stuff.
It really is. And McGrew generally leaves some margin in his driving. So what does he have left to get by Swenson? Is Swenson going to slip and slide even more through 13? It's a long right-hander here. You're kind of feeding in the power. And then it's down to turn 14, one of the slowest corners on the track. Swenson moves left. Luke McGrew looks right.
Well, I tell you, it looked to me like Swenson got a, again, he was pinching it a little bit, worried about McGrew making some sort of a move, and that can scrub a little bit of speed, and I thought Luke might pop to the outside and then cut back underneath. White flag coming out, so this one is unfolding here in a hurry.
1 lap to go here from Carolina Motorsports Park up over the curbs. Swenson and McGrew at the absolute limit, popping over curbs, and it is going to be an all-out duel to the end here. But Swenson really good through 1 and 2, but a slip out of 3.
Now, I'll tell you what, though, that little swing to the left to go through 2, that gave him a couple of car lengths over McGrew. But now this is where McGrew needs to just get up underneath that vet and force him into a little slide and then see if he can get through. And all he has to do is get a little overlap here.
It's so close. A car length between these 2. A car length for 3rd also. Walbaum still has Rosenberg behind him. Swenson goes defensive. McGrew, is he going to try to go up the outside? No. Will he look into turn 8? No, he's right on the bumper of Swenson through turn 8.
This is incredibly close. Last lap stuff. There's this little flick that really doesn't exist through 9, and then the kink, but you can't even see McGrew.
In the shadow of Jeremy Swenson through turn 10, running out of passing opportunities. He is right there behind him as they enter the kink. Last big braking zone here for the number 7. Swenson's in super deep. McGrew's in deeper as they get to turn 11.
Really tight hairpin now, up through the increasing radius sequence. 12, you turn in early, get to the throttle, and this is where Luke needs to somehow get Jeremy to make a little mistake. You can see Jeremy again protecting, Luke just using all the road, building speed, but you can see he lost just a little bit of ground there, Kyle. It's going to have to be a really late move. He can't get it done.
Here it comes. Final corner out of turn number 14. Back to the stripe. Checkered flag will be waving for Jeremy Swenson. 3 wins at Circuit of the Americas. And to the stripe, nose to tail. It'll be win number 4 for Swenson on the season. McGrew right behind. 0.25 seconds back.
Incredibly close. Let's see what happens with Walbaum and Rosenberg. They were having their own really fierce scrap, but it was a good 10 seconds back. Drag race to the line, Kyle.
Walbaum gets it by a nose, by a 1/10 of a second between Walbaum and Rosenberg. So the 90 is on the podium. Then Wimble P5. Then it's going to be Houghton, Andrew Rains, Tony Marchev inside the top 10, then James Cathers and John Kozlow. What a battle there for the top 10.
And after that problem in the last 3 laps, Houghton took 1.5 seconds off Wimble and finished 4/10 behind him. What a comeback drive.
Ronnie Vidoc comes home in 14th. He started tail of the field, so that was a great climb for him. Paul Curley might have been the one, as there's some dust and debris thrown up there towards the tail end of the lap. I wonder if Curley was the one that Houghton got into because he fell backwards, Greg.
That could have been, yeah.
Maybe there was something there. They started nose to tail, I believe.
They did. And you got to give a shout out here as well to the number 11 of Kozlow doing a superb job. Look at this run to the flag.
That's the 562 car into the final corner, a little bit tight here.
Oh!
And here comes the CRX to the inside, 3 wide out of 14. This is deeper in the field, but they're coming to the stripe side by side.
That was reading traffic absolutely perfectly. And that blue CRX, I think the BMW with a little bit more motor got him at the line, but that blue CRX read that traffic to perfection, squared up, got to the throttle early, darn near a double pass.
That was Swindle in the number 182 that got that pass done in that blue CRX. That was an excellent scrap there. A couple other cars that dropped out of this one, Ryan Power, and then I think that was Zach Lavoie at the bottom of the grid there. He didn't get back to the stripe a couple laps down, so wonder if there's an issue there perhaps. But Jeremy Swenson, your race winner for race 1.
Yeah, he finished 4 laps in arrears, so some sort of an issue there. And Power, it's a shame. The way things looked in qualifying, we were really looking to have him put in a good one here. But again, not a bad way to start a season. 4 wins in 5 races for Jeremy Swenson.
Not a bad start. Luke McGrew, P2. Then Matt Waldbaum. And then it was the 44 of Matan Rosenberg. Joel Morrison, P11 in that one. Eddie Nakato, his first race, P12. Rubenstein, 13th in the 159. Ronnie Vidoc up to 14th. A big climb for him. Curley down to 15th place. We'll have to investigate what happened there between him and the 41. And there's the rest of your finishing order with some disappointing results there for the 42 in particular. Zach Lavoie, one of the best drivers in the paddock. We'll have to find out what happened to him.
And keep in mind, folks, fast lap from this race determines where you start for the next race. Swenson will be on pole for that one as well. Luke McGrew, and this is all by me just looking at scoring, will be second. But here's the story. James Houghton is third. Inside row 2.
If he's not at fault for any collisions, in which case he would be disqualified. So we'll have to update you on that. There's the 47 car, and that is, of course, Ryan Power, and that is looking a little underpowered right now.
Yeah, sadly. And he was so quick. That's just a real shame.
So Grid Life Touring Cup race number 1 is complete in this afternoon. Again, we got 3 more races. All of those are tomorrow. So that's what's coming up on the GLTC calendar for the weekend. But we also have track battle, Grid Life NOS Energy track battle time attack coming up here in just a couple of minutes. But GLTC race 1 is done, and Jeremy Swenson is victorious here at CMP, Greg.
Yeah, and he just beautifully judged drive. I think that car was a little bit more loose than he would have wanted it, but he figured out how to drive it, did a little workaround, had just enough left in the quiver to be able to fend off a pretty persistent Luke McGrew.
I'll say persistent. He was so close. That'll do it for GLTC Race 1. Race 2 will be tomorrow morning here from Carolina Motorsports Park.
High performance, year-round traction, long tread life. It's one tire with multiple personalities. Introducing the Azenas FK460, Falcon's all-new ultra-high-performance all-season tire. With an advanced rubber compound that delivers confidence through every curve, in any condition, all year long, making the seemingly impossible possible. Learn more about the Azenas FK460 at falcontire.com.
Did you energize yet today? It's time to NOS up. Get after it.
Hi, I'm Chris Forsberg, and I want to tell you about Valvoline's Flex-Fill Gear Oil, which is designed by car people for car people. It comes in a pouch, which is specifically made to work in tight spaces, and it saves me time versus the old pumping method, so I can focus on things like keeping my drivetrain running clean. Unlike the pump, the Flex-Fill pouch leaves no wasted oil and no wasted time. Plus, it keeps my garage nice and clean from any spills. All you gotta do is put the nozzle where you need some oil, give it a squeeze, and you're ready for the road. That's why I protect everything in my garage with Valvoline. Valvoline, trusted for over 150 years.